And how do you manage to stay active on LinkedIn?
I think I've made it a habit. So like the same way that I check my emails every day and I check my Slack messages every day, I also check LinkedIn every day and I go on there and if I'm feeling inspired, I post something, or if not, I just look at what everyone else is posting and maybe comment if I have some thoughts or, so it's just become like a daily habit so that I don't have to think about it too much. I just do it part of my
Hey
day.
guys, my name is Mong'are and welcome to another episode of the Freelancers Mic where we have conversations with creatives. It's all about you getting the mic and sharing your experiences. If you enjoy it, hit follow so you don't miss the next episode. So on today's episode, we have the pleasure of interviewing the super amazing Joana, a passionate freelance content strategist who works with brands from all corners of the world. With a deep love for marketing and genuine desire to help others succeed, Joana brings a unique perspective to the table. In this episode of the Freelancers Mic, we are talking about crafting unique content and effective content strategies. So Joana is here to share her insights on creating compelling content and impactful content that will resonate with your audience. So Joana, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Lydia. I'm doing very well, thank you.
I know you're a content strategist, and this is one of the common questions that I ask any guest on this episode. If you were to go back in time and start your business all over again, what's that one thing that you would do differently to get where you are right now?
I think the first thing is to have confidence that I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing when it comes to content and marketing. Maybe I don't know everything about being a freelancer, running a business, or working with clients, and you learn that. But the skill of creating a content strategy, researching, understanding data, I have that, and I should feel comfortable with having my opinions and receiving feedback and not necessarily taking that feedback personally, understanding that feedback is not a bad thing. Actually, it's good. And if someone is questioning you, they're not insulting you. They are just maybe trying to understand, or maybe they have a different opinion. And instead of getting emotional about it and thinking, oh, they don't like my work, or or then doubting yourself, actually just take the time to think, okay, maybe they're just trying to understand this better, or maybe they've been told something different in the past by someone else. So instead of getting emotional about it, just explain how you came to this conclusion or how you arrived at this recommendation. And normally you'll find that once you explain the thought process behind it, or you explain the data or the research, then more often than not, you get like a positive outcome. So I think my advice is just like try to take the emotion out of it. We can take things very personally, right? Because this is our work. We spend a lot of time, we put a lot of passion, and we feel very protective. So if someone questions or doubts, we take it personally. But it's important to remember that it's not personal most of the time.
Yeah, I totally understand you, because if you take it personal, then growth will not be part of your work. I mean, you will not grow. You have to take in the criticism positively for you to grow.
Yes. And it's not always, sometimes it's how you might see something and think that it's coming from a negative place because that's how you're reading it. I think that's one of the difficulties is when you receive when you receive feedback in a written form through an email or a comment on a Google Doc or whatever, you don't know how the person intended it to be read, right? You're not hearing how they are saying it. And so you can misinterpret the intention behind that feedback and take it as a negative. And so I think it's always important to just remember, take the emotion out of it, or maybe give yourself like a bit of time and before you reply, so that you have taken the time to digest the feedback, and again, not taking it personally.
Awesome, awesome. And how do you come up with fresh and engaging content ideas for different brands, being able to work with different brands? So sometimes coming up with that content can be a challenge. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times when people are doing a content strategy or something like that, they immediately start with ideas. I don't start like that. I start from research. So the first thing I do is I really try to understand my client's business, and not just like what do you sell, but the story behind the business. I try to speak to different people in the team so I understand, where do they come from, their backgrounds, where did the idea for this product come from? And then I really try to understand the product or the service that they are selling. And then I do research as well on their competitors and on their target audience. I try to really understand, who are your target audience as people? What do they care about? What are they frustrated by? What are their challenges? What are their goals, ambitions? How do they live their lives? How do they research? What social media platforms do they use? What news do they read? As much as I can. And from there, you'll be surprised how many ideas you already have, because you just have a very good understanding of the problem that you're trying to solve or the goal that you're trying to achieve. And then I also do a thorough audit of my clients, all of their marketing channels usually. So I don't work with very big clients. Most of them are small businesses. So they have maybe a website, social media, and email. And so I'll audit all of these channels to see what's going on here, what's working, what's not working. And then from there, I have a pretty good idea of what I need to do next. And usually I don't jump straight into fresh new ideas. I actually start by improving what we already have. So it could be, your website is good, but we need to improve these pages. Or it might be, you already have 100 blog posts, but they're not performing. So let's improve those blogs first. It's not always a case, a content strategy is not always a case of, let's create some new content. Let's think about ideas. Actually, there's like a whole process before that, which will help you. By the time you reach the idea generation stage, after all this research, you will have a list of ideas coming out of your ears, because you will have so much understanding about what it is that you're trying to achieve, the problems, the target audience, everything. You will already have these ideas, and then it's just a case of organizing them.
Wow, I like that. I ask that question because when you work with a client for more than 1 year, it means you've already written a lot of content for that client, be it on social media or on their websites. In that, when I try coming up with content, I'm like, I've already written this. What have I not written? I'm trying to come up with fresh content and it's not coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's where you look at, well, then we don't need new content. Maybe we need to repurpose existing content. So you might identify some blogs or a video or something which is not performing very well. And you try to think, well, why is it not performing well? Maybe we haven't understood the problem that we're trying to solve with this piece of content. So you can just refresh your content or recycle it or repurpose it. And you can say, actually, maybe then you choose a piece of content that is performing very well and you turn it into something else. It could be a blog post and you say, why don't we turn this also into a video? Or why don't we use this blog post and make it into an infographic, or a carousel on LinkedIn if it's B2B. So I think we don't always have to keep coming up with new ideas, because as you say, like after a while, you might have already exhausted everything that you can think of. So then it's a case of looking at what you have and what can you do to improve it.
Wow. I like your perspective. I used to struggle with that one a lot, especially when a client doesn't have the website, he doesn't have a blog. So all the content that you need to come up with is the content for social media. So the idea of repurposing is not, of going to blog posts is not even close to that.
Yes, I mean, most of the content that I create, because most of my clients are, not all of them, but most of them are B2B. So blogging is very important because this is how the target audience searches for information, and they like to read detailed blogs about the problems that they're having and the challenges and the solutions. And so for my majority of my clients, the content that I end up creating is very much blog posts or emails or LinkedIn. And yeah, so there are many opportunities for repurposing and recycling, because it may be, one of my clients, for example, we have a blog post that we wrote, I think, almost 4 years ago, and it's still driving traffic to the website every day because it's still such a relevant customer problem that we've wrote about, and it's still ranking very well on Google because the competitors are not writing about this. So and it just goes to show, if we wanted to have this, to think about new ideas, actually this old idea that we had 4 years ago is still working today. So maybe we could just create more content around this idea and then really own that space. So if you search for these kind of problems on Google, or you search for that anywhere, all you would find is my client's brand. No one else would be on there.
Okay, and you at some point find yourself sharing the same content for 2 different clients, like you have 2 clients on the same niche and you write the same content for them?
It might be similar, but it will never be the same, because for a piece of content to be valuable, it has to speak to the target audience, and it also has to explain why the brand is the right fit for that target audience and what's the problem that we're trying to solve. And even a competitor, they're never going to be exactly the same, because there might be something that's different about them, unique about them, or unique about the way that they work with clients, or the way that the product works, or there's something always unique about each client. So even if we are addressing a very similar topic, the content is never going to be the same. It might have some similarities. And in some cases that can help me, because if I already wrote about this topic for this client, I already know a lot about it, but I'm never just going to create the same type of content. I will always give it a unique angle.
Wow, that makes sense. And why is it important for you or for any freelancer working for a client to first understand the client's identity, target audience, and competitors before they develop a content strategy?
Yeah, because there's so much content out there in the world, right? We are bombarded with content coming from every channel. And if you are just creating the same kind of content as everyone else, first of all, you're never going to stand out. You might not really achieve the objectives, and it just becomes a bit of a waste of effort, really. So if you understand completely your client's business, your target audience, the market that you're operating in, the industry that you're in, and the competitors, you can always find a unique angle for everything. And then that makes your content stand out. And you can see, what everyone else has done and make yours different. And that's where you get the better results, because your content is different, and it's all the pieces make sense. You're solving a customer problem with your content, but you're relating it back to the business, and you're not just copying your competitors. So it all makes sense. So you need to have a really good understanding of that before you create any piece of content. Otherwise, you're just going to write what everyone else is doing, and then what's the point of that?
Oh, yeah. All right. And about the tools and methods that you use to analyze how different marketing and channels are working together, what's that one tool that stands out for you, or the one that you would recommend anyone to use?
Yeah, I mean, because most of my clients, I work with the content on their website, then of course, Google Analytics and Google Search Console are my favorite tools, because they tell me a lot about what's going on the website and on search. And then it depends which other channels I'm using, right? So if I'm using email, then of course I will look at the the analytics for that email platform. If I'm using LinkedIn, then I'll use LinkedIn analytics, and then I'll just try to piece everything together. Like I said before, most of my clients are smaller businesses, so we don't use a lot of tools and all these sophisticated data analysis tools that are super expensive, because they are super expensive, so it's like small businesses often can't afford them, but also it's not always necessary. I think if you understand what each tool is telling you, and then you can kind of put all the pieces together yourself, then you you can figure out what you need to improve, or what's working, what's not working, without these sophisticated tools. But obviously, if you are a big business with many channels, and then you need a better tool than that. But yeah, for me, sticking with the basics of analytics, Search Console, for keyword research, etc., then I use Ahrefs, and I use SEMrush for audits. The tried and tested best industry tools is what I stick to.
All right. Do you perform keyword research the way you would do for social media, the way you would do it for a blog?
Well, I don't work so much with social media. Most of my clients, we do more website content or digital PR. And the only social media channels that I use are LinkedIn for my clients. I do perform keyword research for the strategy. Yeah, so I would do that at the start. As part of the strategy creation, I would uncover several topics. I would choose maybe like 3 or 4 topics that I want my clients to be known for. And then I would do keyword research for each of those topics, identify as many long tail keywords as I can for each topic, and then figure out what kind of content we create. Most of my clients, one of the biggest objectives they have is more visibility on search. So SEO is obviously a really important area of focus. More than social media, I would say, but that's just my clients. It's not for everyone.
Oh, that is so detailed. And I know my audience would like to know, how do you get your clients?
It's changed over the years. I've been doing this, I've been freelancing for 6 years now. And in the beginning, a lot of my clients, I would have to go and find them, pitch. I would be on loads of different platforms and finding opportunities and pitching, or I would send cold emails and this and that. But over the course of the 6 years, I've worked with a lot of people. So I've built a really good network. And a lot of my clients nowadays come from referrals and word of mouth, or LinkedIn, actually. So it's really nice, because it means that, first of all, by the time they reach out to me, they've already had a positive recommendation, right? And that's really important, because when you are sending a cold pitch, this person doesn't know you, and they don't know if you're good or not, whatever. So you start on you have to make a lot of effort to prove to them that you are worth working with. But when the first interaction comes from a recommendation, you already start on a positive, because they've already received something positive from someone who said, oh yes, you need to work with Joana because I worked with her. And so it already starts on a very positive note, which means that the majority of times you will work together. unless there is a very good reason not to. For example, it's not a right fit, or the budget is not right, or maybe it's just outside of your skill set, and so that way it's not a right fit. But if that's not the case, then most often you will end up winning that client because it already starts on a very positive note.
What's that one thing that you would tell someone that is starting out as a content strategist? Maybe I didn't ask you a question in that area, so tell that person that one thing.
To start as a content strategist, like what?
Yeah, someone is listening to this and is thinking of starting his business as a content strategist. So
Yeah.
what's that one thing that you would like to tell this person?
Maybe have a very clear understanding of how the thing with content strategy, there is not one way of doing it, right? Everyone has their style based on their experience, their knowledge, their understanding. So have a very good sense of what does your process look like for creating a content strategy, and what makes you different than someone else, and who is that best for? Like, what kind of client would most benefit from your style? Because for me, for example, my style is very good for small businesses because I don't just focus on one area of content. Like, I don't just say, I will do SEO content or I will do social media content. No, I can do all of your business's content, and every piece fits together. But this doesn't really work for big, large corporations. They need someone who is very focused and niched in one area and who can make this one area perform extremely well, because then someone else is focusing on another area, and so on and so forth. So I think you need to understand, like, what do you bring to the table and who is this going to benefit the most? That will help you, because then you will understand, okay, I need to focus on small businesses. This is what makes me different. This is my process. And then you can confidently sell this. Otherwise, if you try to be everything for everyone, unfortunately, it doesn't really work. It never worked for me. I tried it in the beginning and I quickly realized, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it won't work. When you try to be everything, sometimes it's also overwhelming on your side. You may even get confused on what to do and what not. But when you focus and decide, this is what I'm going to focus on, it takes a lot of work off your shoulders, and it feels so good because, these are the people that I'm exactly targeting, and this is what I can offer exactly.
Yes, and it gives you more confidence as well, because the thing with being self-employed is you spend a lot of time on your own, right? And it's very easy to lose confidence because someone might suggest something to you that is outside of your comfort zone, and then suddenly you start to question, am I doing this wrong? Because I didn't focus on what this person said, And so, but if you understand, okay, this is me, this is what I sell, this is why, this is what makes me different, and this is who I'm selling it for, then you can confidently understand that sometimes feedback that people give you is just their opinion. And you can say, okay, I understand, but not for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joanna, for being here today. And so if someone is listening to this episode and wants to reach out to Joanna, how will that person get in touch with you?
Yes, so the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. I am very active on there. So if you just follow me, Joana Vega Ferreira, then we can chat. Or you can check my website, jvf.marketing. And there is a, contact form. I have a newsletter, so you can follow me on there.
Awesome. She's very active on LinkedIn. I was
I
stalking
try.
and I really love the content that you share. Looking at LinkedIn is kind of where people write all the lessons that they learned. Someone goes to a wedding and comes back to post, I was at my wedding and these are the 3 things I learned. So you wonder someone
Yes.
who was at a wedding and at the same time was thinking about business lessons.
I try not to do that when I'm at some, when I'm having fun, I'm having fun. But yeah, each to their own, right? I think yeah, but I do love LinkedIn. It's a great
Yeah,
tool.
LinkedIn is a very good place to be, especially
Yeah,
when it comes to storytelling, the way people craft content, they keep you engaged, you get to learn as you keep scrolling the story.
yes. And for freelancers, it's a fantastic place to find clients, but also to build your network because freelancing, you need to have a good network if you want to not spend so much time just trying to find clients. The goal is that one day clients find you and you don't have to look so hard.
Yeah, someone said that work so hard in that you don't need to introduce yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's very rewarding when you finally get to the place where clients are coming to you because they heard about you or someone told them. They already know quite a lot about you. So you don't have to work so hard to impress them and introduce yourself and explain why you are this, why you are that. That part is already done. And then you can just get to the good part where you send them a proposal or you do a test piece or whatever it is that you decide to do.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule to be here today to share the amazing insights with our amazing audience. We appreciate you so much. And that is it for today on this episode. We have learned a lot from Joana. Until next time, talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Lydia.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
And you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.